You are now tuned in to the One Man Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. One Man Show. You are watching the One Man Show. Ooh, One Man Show.
Hi, Kevin, Motorbike Adventures of Britain. I'm here with Guy from Held UK, who some of you may know actually sponsors me with equipment so I can go out and do my job. But I'm with him here to find out a little bit more about him in a good motorcycle dealer and also equipment supplier in Aberdeen of all places. So let me introduce you to Guy and let's find out a little bit about him. Hello, Guy.
How you doing, Kevin? Good to see you, my friend.
We've known each other for a little bit of a while now, and I understood that you'd only been with Hein Gurrica and you'd left Hein Gurrica and you'd started up with Held. Mm-hmm. I'm now starting to find out a little bit more about you. Would you like to share it with our viewers, your little bit of a life story?
Yeah, well, in terms of work, I guess I am a little bit of an industry diehard. I've worked in it pretty much since school. Disappointed the family, you know, I was meant to be the first to go to university, etc.
Yeah.
But
I was meant not to join the army.
There we go. You know how it was, but I was determined that I wanted to get a job. But I went out and got what should have been a career, because that I could justify to the parents, you know. So I took an apprenticeship as a draftsman, and it lasted a year to the day. I'd been saving up for a proper pair of motorcycle gloves.
Right.
I at the time had a DT125 LC, spent all my money on that, and my granny gave me a pair of sheepskin gloves. And after nearly a year they rotted, and I'd been saving up. I wanted a pair of Furagan gloves, and I'd saved them up, and I bought them from a little place in Guildford in Surrey called Motorsport. And at the time they were literally the only clothing accessory only store in the UK.
Okay.
And they were just around the corner from where I worked, so I popped in there one lunchtime when I'd got me 60 quid or whatever it was back then. Yeah,
no, couldn't have been that much.
Oh, they were, they were really expensive, but
really?
Boy, these gloves were brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, waxed oxide. Anyway, but went in there for my pair of gloves, came out with a pair of gloves and having accepted a job. So.
How did that go? How did you get the job?
It was literally that, you know, I'd been in there and I bought bits and bobs, you know, over the years from them. Well, the year and a half I've been biking, you know, and like they liked the cut of my jib. I always had a bit of banter with them, etc. And you know, basically it was almost an off the cuff remark. You know, we need someone attentive like you know, and as I say, before I'd know it, I'd say, well, why don't you offer me a job? I'll come and work for you. And then when I got back to work after my lunch hour, I wasn't thinking, bugger, how do I tell the boss? I was thinking, oh my God, the old man's going to beat me senseless. and he pretty much did. You know?
You've done what?
But so that was me. You know, working in a bike store or clothing accessory store. And at the time, we were one of the first dealers that got heavily involved with a brand that was pretty prolific in the 80s called Fieldshare. And Motorsport were quite a big retailer for them, and so I knew them quite well. And I'd worked there about 18 months, and they poached me, should I say, and offered me a job as their southern area sales manager. And I did that for just over 18 months. And one day the governor, a guy called Len Lucchese, said, Cincinnati show, the American show back then, was in Cincinnati, and he asked me to put a sample pack together, and off we went. We didn't even exhibit there. We had a hotel suite because it was cheaper. And we went to the show, and Len knew many dealers there because he'd done business there before, and a bit naughty really, but he'd grab hold of them and take them back to the hotel suite, and we'd show them some of the products. And we got such a good reaction that we were due to fly home, and Len was like, right, well, this is what we're going to do. And at the time, he had a cousin that lived in Dallas, of all places.
Okay.
And he was a corporate lawyer. So he says, I'm going to go to Dallas and see my cousin and file articles of incorporation. What I want you to do is I want you to fly out to San Francisco and work your way down to Los Angeles. He gave me a list of dealers he used to do business with. He says, take the samples and just see what the reaction was. And cut a long story short, I met up with him in O'Hare, Chicago.
Okay.
You know, we met there for the flight home, and he'd set up a company, Field Cheer Inc., and I gave him an order from every dealer I went to visit. You know, not even knowing whether we'd be there, have products, etc. Well, again, to cut another long story short, 3 weeks later, I was on a plane with 2 suitcases,
A few boxes,
and an apartment had been leased for me, and we got a little bit of space and an office desk at our freight forwarders just outside LAX on Century Boulevard, and I did that for 4 years.
That's where it's at, isn't it? Just getting out there.
There we go. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. But after 4 years, you know, one day I woke up, never felt homesick once, and it felt like time to go home. And within a couple of weeks, I was back in the UK. There was a new distributor in England there for Field Cheer, because Len was enjoying America so much, he sort of up sticks and moved to the States.
Right.
If I'm honest with you, that was part of the reason, I think, for wanting to come home. I'd had 4 years of basically running the things, albeit with a mandate.
Yeah.
But Len was there all the time, you know. So we did a deal, and I came back and I worked.
It was no longer fun.
Yeah, I worked for the new distributor of Field Cheer in the UK, and I had a couple of years really enjoying that. But you know, basically, I'd been selling Field Cheer in my working life by then. So I saw a company called AVA Europa advertising for salespeople, and AVA I knew were the the distribution arm for a company called Eurobike. Eurobike were the owner of Hungarica. And Hungarica at that time had 2 or 3 shops in the UK. It was very much in its infancy, and it was run by a fella I'd known for some time called Tom Walker. And
Hein became prolific, didn't he?
Yes.
I mean, he did.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, he really, you know, created unbrand, you know, clothing in the 70s.
Okay.
So anyway, I started working for AVA Europa as a salesman, and very quickly became sales manager. But then they also tapped into having me do some purchasing for them. So I was spending more and more time in their head office, which was based in Dunraggett, Stranraer. In fact, later on, when AVA became no more, Aprilia bought the building. And Aprilia UK was run out of there for several years. But anyway, to get back to the story, as Hungarica started growing a little bit and I became more head office based, it made sense, rather than me commuting from Kent up to, to Scotland, I went to York. Because at the time Hungarica, they didn't have a warehouse in the UK, and their office and it was all run above their shop in York. So I'd go up to York on a Sunday night, and then head for home back to Kent on a Friday night. And so I'd do my AVA stuff, a lot of it from there, but I also started doing some buying for Gerica. That's a little bit of a long story, we're nearly at the end. But
keep listening,
there we go. Basically, Eurobike took the decision, we're a retail chain, we're Hungarica, we're not a wholesaler. And it had become more complicated as they were really owning the market in Germany. And they bought a couple of distribution businesses in Germany. They were the 2 biggest distributors in Germany at the time. It's probably not the best way of saying this, but it seemed a bit queer to me. You know, they're the main retailer, and then going wholesale as well seemed a little bit to me like, would BMW buy their parts from Mercedes? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, what happened was that the distribution businesses didn't really work, because it was really decided dealers didn't want to buy from the competition.
Absolutely.
So they took the decision to sell off their distribution businesses, and in doing that, in the UK, AVA's brands were picked up by Phoenix Distribution, who were the alloy distributor for so many years. So I was seconded to them for 12 months. And you know, introduced them to all of the brands, etc. And you know, great company, lovely people, a very corporate environment. And at that time, I hadn't really worked within a corporate environment. I've worked with entrepreneurs, and it just wasn't for me because it felt like I was controlled. You know. And just as I was really thinking, well, time's cracking on, I need to get an iron in the fire, got a phone call from Tom Walker, Managing Director of Heingericke. They were expanding. Said, Guy, I need someone to be in control of the shops and also do the buying. Since you were seconded, you know, it's getting more difficult. So that was my introduction to Heingericke, you know, and I was their shop controller, stroke buyer, marketing for about 3 or maybe 4 years before Tom moved on, and I was promoted along with another fellow as joint managing director. And you know, very, very enjoyable part of my life. But you know, unfortunately, burning the candle at both ends. I had a heart attack in my late 30s. Very, very mild one.
That's something that I didn't know. And I guess not many people do know. But there you were, in your 30s, top of the tree, and you had a heart attack.
And
surely that must have changed your outlook on things.
It really, really did. It made me a little introvert, you know, for a while. And I don't mind saying a little bit frightened.
Of course it would, eh?
You know, and the weeks and weeks and weeks of travelling, you know, a month. All over the place, visiting factories, etc.
I think it's living a dream, but it takes its toll, doesn't it?
But you know, you've seen the inside cabin of one aeroplane, you've pretty much seen them all. So I could give you some very good descriptions of airport departure lounges. I could tell you, from the Wolf's Foot about a load of factories, but actually as for the countries and cities I've visited, not a thing, because you don't get to see them. And that began to stress me a little bit more, and anyway, again, to cut another long story short, you know, we decided that really that part of my life was up, and I took some time out. And just as really I was, my head was straight and I was ready for another challenge. And
some people may think, I'll just cut in here, some people may think, as I thought, that you could see the writing on the wall for Gurrick, and you got out before the crash.
No, not at all.
But it's not that at all, is it?
Not at all. When I left, still on the UK was the jewel in the crown. The other businesses, you know, worked to a degree. But the UK model was a little bit more flexible. We didn't just sell Gurrick products, we supplemented it with name brands in the UK that specialised in areas Gurrick didn't. I'd also like to think that I had a super relationship with the majority of the managers in the store, and you know, we ran things in I would say a more of a contributory manner. But
it must have been a big decision to walk away, even with the heart attack. It must have been.
It was, and it wasn't. You know, the last 2 years that I was on Heingericke, you know, we were under new ownership, and it was another phase of time where I was fighting to be allowed to do my job rather than doing it. And what I mean by that, it's going through the motions again as to why the UK model was different to other places, why it wasn't working in other places and was in the UK. So to speak, the straw that broke the camel's back, although you know, there was no animosity, was that the UK was always being pointed, you know, within the group as, well, why is it working there and not working so well in other countries? And so I spent just about 12 months, a little bit like going back to the AVA days, going to Dusseldorf, and I didn't become European CEO, but I was standing CEO for the group for a while, which meant leaving home at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning and getting back to Leeds Bradford, well, not Leeds Bradford Airport, in fact Manchester Airport, on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And I used to get home just after midnight, so Saturday morning, and then it would start again.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I found it quite tough. I knew what needed to be done, but it was very difficult. Changing people's mindset. The people
done it
within
like
the
this
head,
all the
head
time.
office. I wouldn't say that they were working against me. That wasn't the case, but it was just tough. I wasn't enjoying it. Because I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing
It's
as
time to get
good
out.
a job as I
Yeah.
could. And it's difficult. You go back to a hotel room, and you're looking at the fan going around on the ceiling, and when you start thinking about other uses for that fan other than keeping you cool, and let's park the
just
bus
put my head up there, wonder if it would hurt.
there we go. Well, that's really got me thinking, and the owners sort of like saw that it was
That's tickled me, that.
that maybe the time had come to let me go back to the UK.
Yeah.
But when I came back to the UK, really the decision had been made in my head subconsciously. I was ready for a new challenge. But I started feeling unwell again, and I think it was the stress of being away from home and not feeling like I was really doing.
And this was
a good
after your
job.
heart attack as well.
Yeah,
so
this was-
feeling unwell, you're thinking
that's
this
it,
ain't worth
yeah.
it.
So Jean, my fiance, and as you know, is a partner in the business.
Yeah.
She said, "Well, look, Guy, fortunately we've got any kids. We've got a little bit of savings. You need to take some time off. Get your body right. Get your head
She
right.
gave you permission.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I'll be forever in a debt for that. And so that's what I did. And just around the time that I was thinking, blimey, really, I'm feeling right. The bank balance is not at an all-time low.
Maybe I should
but
look at the jobs pages.
there we go. And of all things, the phone went, and it was a very good friend that was at Gore-Tex. And he phoned me up to say, Guy, I'm in a meeting with Held. I know you'll know Held. I said, yeah, what's the crack there then? He said, well, we've just granted them a Gore-Tex licence for clothing. I don't know if you know, Kevin, but Gore-Tex have different divisions in motorcycling. Well, in all of their divisions.
Yeah.
But in motorcycling, you've got garments, gloves and boots.
Okay.
And Held long term had a licence for gloves.
Yeah.
One of the
I
first.
mean, that's how they started off.
Of course.
Yeah.
But a licence had become available, and they just granted it to Held for clothing. Now, during their last meeting, where they'd signed the contracts, etc., Gore-Tex had mentioned to them by Held that their agent of many years in the UK was retiring. Did they know anyone that perhaps they could talk to? Because they were looking for someone new for the UK.
I wonder who came into their mind then.
Well, yeah, there we go. Well, Gericka were their biggest client in motorcycling at the time.
Yeah.
And the most prolific seller of Gore-Tex within Gericka was Gericka UK. So yeah, they suggested me. Held said, well, we'd love to speak to him. So they put the phone up to me from that meeting. I was on a plane and actually met them at a dealer roadshow. It was that time of year where Held were presenting to their dealers in Germany the next year's collection, the 2010 collection.
Okay.
So this was around June or July 2009. Flew to Hanover, met them at a hotel airport presentation room. And within an hour we'd shaken hands on it that I would start on the 1st of January 2010 with Jean, my fiance, running the office, me running the sales and marketing, and that was us. And the
Talking out of there and going, what the hell have I done?
I came back and I just had a grin from ear to ear. And in fact, it was only it would be the presentation for this year's collection. So just over 12 months ago, I was sat somewhere in a beer cellar with Marcus Held, who I'd met with his cousin Sabina Held. Company now is run by the third generation, but the joint managing directors are the two sons of the founders, Edgar and Erhard. So Marcus Held is Edgar's son, and Sabina Held is Erhard's daughter. and Marcus is commercial product related. Sabina was the export manager. That's why I met both of them. Well, I was sat having a beer and probably a schnapps with Marcus.
Or two.
We started giggling because we both recalled that we spoke for 5 or 10 minutes about my background only, and I looked at the products for maybe 5 or 10 minutes only.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time we just nattered and got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
know each other.
Yeah, yeah.
But as I said, within an hour of meeting, we'd shaken that we were going to take over as the distributor. So the reason we were giggling, 4 years later,
Yeah,
5 years
yeah.
later, was, gosh, did you really risk your future on 5 minutes looking at some products, not really, talking to us about the history of the company, etc., etc. And the flip side of that, of course,
Yeah, you took me on, yeah.
They took me on, almost on a whim. But I think it just goes to show that sometimes when something's right,
Absolutely.
and you know what you're doing, both parties, it just feels right. You do it,
Yeah.
and I have to say, Kevin, that I've never been happier. I'm working just as hard. So
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that partly it's an epic fail. You'd say that I should be under more pressure and have more stress
Absolutely.
because it's now
God, yeah.
mine and Jean's livelihood that I'm messing with rather than
Your
playing around with
pounds
other
and pennies
people's
and
monies.
yeah.
But actually, I find that so much less stressful because we live or die by our decisions.
You're totally in control.
Yeah, you know.
A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't take that on, but you have.
Yeah.
Even with all the,
Well,
the pressure of the heart attack, you'd think, why would you come into this having?
yeah, well, as I say, it was a mild one. It was a warning.
Yeah.
And I think, I have to keep going back to Jean, but it was a good job I had a Jean because I probably would have ignored the warning, etc., etc. There's no accounting for dumb, and I can be dumb.
Yeah.
But she gave me a good, strong talking to, and I say that it became clear, the new direction. So, we've never been happier, and as it turned out, we set the company up right at the global, stock market crash.
Yeah, good, yeah.
But I'm proud to say that we returned a set of black accounts in our first year. They were only just black, but they were black.
As long as they're black.
They've been black since.
Yeah.
We're on for this year to have tripled our turnover since we started. Now, on the one hand, 100% increase on nothing is still nothing.
Absolutely.
But we're getting to the stage now where we're on people's radars, and the business is getting interesting.
Yeah.
If we can keep up the momentum that we've got, in a couple of years' time, I would say that we'll be really firmly established. It's more than paying for itself now. We're having a lot of fun. We still run things quite tight. There's myself, as you know. There's Jean, who runs the office, and then there's Rasta Mouse.
Absolutely, Rasta Mouse.
There's Loz, who's our salesman in the south of England, and takes care of a lot of the racers that we work with. Because he's still dead enthusiastic about racing. I mean, I am, but Loz still goes to every meeting. I pick and choose the ones I go to now. But no, this is it. We work with good people. They're family people.
Yeah. They care.
They really, really do. And there's a held entrenched in every area of the business. So we have Edgar's family that come down through all of the commercial aspects really of the business, sales, marketing, etc. And there's Edgar's side of Earhart's side of the business that are more production based. So Earhart is the glove meister. He's forgotten more than most people will ever know about making gloves. At the end of the day, he's been making bike gloves since 1940.
Yeah.
It was him that came up with the idea for dual chamber technology. 15 years before there was the membrane technology to realise it. When Gore-Tex was struggling to really get the application working correctly. They
Yeah,
had
yeah,
this technology,
Yeah, yeah.
but how do we use it? You know, they started discussing it with Erhard and Rai Smile, and he started pulling out design drawings that he'd made many years earlier.
Look what I did. Yeah.
Exactly. So hence that's why Held had a global exclusive for 12 months on dual chamber technology.
Right.
In gloves.
Wow.
You know, that was, if you like, the playback of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
helping engineer,
Yeah,
the first working models. You know, now Erhard's son, for instance, Christian is next in line as the glove meister. You know, I'd pretty much say
He
that
served his
there's
30-year
only one.
apprenticeship.
You know it, yeah. There's only one person that knows more about gloves, bike gloves, than him, and that's his dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
know, and that's pretty much how it all works. No, it's a great company to be involved with, and you know, you have Christian, I've told you, who now is in production. You have Stefan Held, Marcus's brother, who's in control of the product development department. So, you know, it may appear a bit glib, but actually it's a fact. That's why Held fits like a glove should.
Exactly.
And once again, you know, gloves. What we built the business, what I focused on for the first sort of 18 months or so, with such a huge range. Where do you start with dealers? So we tried to focus on what, if we were known in the UK, what we'd be known for, gloves.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the uniquenesses we have, which shouldn't be a uniqueness, is that Held gloves. No such thing as a small, medium, and large.
Yeah.
As well, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why? Well, I can tell you very easily, because there isn't a standards document, and by that I mean BSI, SEN, Schnell, whatever national institution. Look through them all. You will not find a measurement chart for a medium jacket or a small pair of gloves. What does it mean? What does it mean?
Yeah.
Size 7.5, 8, 9, 13. These are real measurements.
Absolutely.
They're inches
Absolutely.
circumference with a clenched fist.
Yeah.
It's the way gloves used to be sized. It's actually how things still are.
Yeah.
But laziness, people give universal sizes. I mean, you know, I meander a little, but it's like hat sizes. I can always remember my grandfather, bless his soul, every other Christmas I'd buy him a flat cap. So I remember that his cap size is 6 7/8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most people would call that a small stroke medium now.
Yeah. I'm 7 1/8.
There we go. So you relate to what
back in
I'm
the
saying.
day.
You know, and this is why still on, you know, our gloves come in real sizes. On top of that, many have short and long finger lengths, as you know.
Yeah.
And then several styles we can actually do made to measure on as well. You know, people should buy Held because they're buying product development, they're buying quality materials. What they're not buying, and you know, sometimes this frustrates me, because we could have developed a little quicker, but they're not buying something where a huge percentage of the final retail asking price is for the huge amount of marketing that's done. You know, races aren't cheap.
No.
At the highest level.
No.
You know, TV campaigns aren't
Absolutely.
cheap. And. Well, with Held, you know, they're not in it for the quick fix. They're in it for the long haul. I mean, you know, 70-year anniversary this year. You know, they're in it for the long
Been
haul.
around a while.
They have.
Talking about the gloves, there was a guy who sent a pair of gloves too, who got in touch with me as soon as he received them, and just not only did he say that these feel better than the ones he initially had, and I can't remember the brand that he had before, and I really can't, otherwise I'd mention it. But he said even the quality of the leather, never mind the fit, the quality of the leather was superior. And that stuck in my mind. It wasn't a case of, oh yeah, these fit a little, but he said the actual thickness of the leather, he couldn't believe just how much different they were.
Sure.
So you know, there's the quality within there, it's not just the fit.
We always seem to come back to gloves, you know, and we always will, let's face it, you know, another 50 years time, you know, Held gloves, they're almost biblical. You know, they really are that good. I mean, Held make quality products. you know, I think that they stand up with the best that's out there.
Well, my last lot lasted 2 years and nearly 30,000 miles.
Exactly.
In fact, they're still all right. But yeah.
But the gloves.
Yeah.
You know, the gloves really are a cut above.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, as I've told you before, in fact, Held, they don't just make bike gloves. They actually make gloves for many businesses around the world, and very, very, very diverse. They make everything from anti-static gloves that you'll find Siemens employees, you know, putting in chips on printed circuit boards, wearing anti-static gloves. If you were to go to the finishing production line in Ingolstadt, Audi, you'll find the gloves that they wear, you know, on the final assemblies, all little Held gloves.
Right.
You will find that the German Air Force, the gloves that their Eurofighter pilots wear, made by Held. If you ever find yourself on an autobahn and sort of see some mad fool sort of hanging from an electricity pylon, sort of like playing around with the wires or lines. The gloves that they're wearing, anti-static, shock, etc., made by Held. If you ever found yourself, and I wouldn't advise this, I don't know whether this is the right terminology, but the Thai SWAT police. They have some very special Held gloves that are Kevlar lined and also chainmail, because they still have an awful lot of knife crime and gangs there, and they need the chainmail for anti-cut, because when they get any sort of disturbance, it's almost a guarantee that there's going to be some very fancy knife work going on. So yeah, that just gives you a little insight, you know, and I've just scratched the surface with the sort of glove applications. You know, so there we go.
So there we have it, a little insight to Guy from Held, telling us a little bit also as to why you should trust Held, because Held in German is hero.
Absolutely.
Guy, thank you very much.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you.
Good man.
You are now tuned in to the One Man Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. One Man Show. You are watching the One Man Show. One Man Show.